Good evening, I am Nisha Charles.
And I am Deslin Joseph.
And we are your presenters for today. Thank you for joining us for SAT TV News. Among the major developments, Dominica hosts Climate Change Adaptation Seminar.
Second arrest in Cayman Islands corruption probe.
Thai ex-Prime Minister Abhisit charged with murder over protest death.
And in sports, no show for two teams in DFA's Division 1 League.
Details of these and other stories after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. The Ministry of Education is calling on schools to incorporate healthy eating and physical exercise into the school curriculum. This comes after a workshop that was held to help develop a school health nutrition policy. The Chief Education Officer, Mr. Stevenson Hyacinth, says if these are not incorporated into the schools, then he is fearful that the ministry will not achieve their goal of having every child succeed.
The incorporation of sports, the incorporation of physical education, making it mandatory and compulsory at the schools. It will incorporate activities itself in the classroom. And really, this policy is one that is going to revolutionize the whole teaching and learning process at our schools. Why? It must be incorporated in the curriculum. And every subject area that we teach, the aspect of healthy eating and the whole aspect of physical activities must be incorporated.
He says this will influence the way we look at children and the work needed to be done and the way we work with the students in the classroom. It will also influence the way that they teach.
If we want students to emulate us, as they do, very much so, we have to be agents of our own teaching. It's also going to influence the curriculum in specific ways that we're not going to make it a discrete subject, but rather a more integrated subject in that we build it into all the various subject areas, language, social studies, science, as the case may be. Although we have a HFLE curriculum, we're not going to leave it only for the HFLE teachers to do.
It will also influence the foods that are being sold to the students on the school compound. He says for this, the ministry would have to implement policies so that the vendors will keep in line with the guidelines that they provide.
Because we are all part of the system and we know what we'd like to see our students do at this particular time. And we'd like to know how the educational system can in fact assist our students so that they can live healthy lifestyles and also be involved in sporting activities that will build on the physical being.
His aim is that they will come up with a few practical solutions to the problems of obesity in schools, because unless it is practical, it will not work. We now go to Deslin for a report.
It was a proud moment for the Gomes family as a student of the Orion Academy received the scholarship Mr. Tishon Gomes for his hard work and dedication throughout his school period. Mr. Gomes, a former at the Orion Academy, received distinct acknowledgement for his superb grades amongst many of his other positive attributes on Thursday, December 13th. Edgel Fortune Associates Limited provides scholarship for students such as Tishon. The first recipient was Mr. Peter Panfia, who attended Orion Academy from 1st to 5th form. Mr. Panfia, who graduated in June of last year, says that Tishon deserves to receive this 2-year scholarship.
Attending school at Orion has been very beneficial to me, and it's been probably one of the most important things in shaping who I am today. During September, I met Mr. Edgel, and he seems to be a very nice person. And he also gave me words of encouragement in pursuing my dreams to become an engineer. I'd just like to say that I am very happy that Tishon was the one who got the scholarship, and I guess it'll be going for the next 2 years. He is a very good student. I think he's an example. He is very intelligent, and I place a lot of trust in him.
Presenter of the scholarship, Mr. Greg Fortune, says he was pleased to once again provide another student with this opportunity.
What we do here makes a lot of sense, and the contribution that we make, be it socially, helps boost the educations of many students. Well, not many, but the students get the scholarship. So on behalf of Edward Fortune Associates, I'd like to present a check of $9,075
who have responded positively to our invitation to be with us this morning. We have asked you here today to expose an act of kindness that we at Orion...
Miss Ann Burton, principal of the Orion Academy, expressed a heartfelt appreciation to the company and said she could not have been any more grateful.
This very kind gesture is a clear demonstration of your company's heightened social consciousness and sense of social responsibility. Such benevolence can only be applauded, and it is my hope that other business houses will take a page out of your manual and give back as you have. The student who is today receiving this award is 14-year-old Tishon Gums. He holds an overall average of 91%, being only one of 2 students who has made the principal's honor roll throughout his years here at Orion. He's currently in 4th form, taking 11 subjects. Needless to say, Tishon's days are very long.
Tishon assured his teachers and his mother, Miss Juanita Gums, that it was not a mistake to award him with this scholarship.
I'm grateful to Edward Fortune Associates for handing me this scholarship. I am sure that my family, friends, and school are extremely proud of me. Upon receiving this scholarship, I will prove to Edward Fortune Associates that they did not make a mistake when giving me this scholarship. Thanks to all, and God bless.
Tishon's mother says she's extremely grateful and proud of her son, and this $9,075 scholarship will be put to great use.
This opportunity to thank Edward Fortune and Associates for giving my son, Tishon Gums, this scholarship for the next 2 years at Orion Academy. I am very grateful that Tishon has received this scholarship. He has been an exemplary student for the past 3 years at Orion, and indeed deserves it. Once again, I'd like to say thank you and God bless.
Once again, I'm Deslin Joseph reporting for Sat TV News, and back to you.
Thank you, Deslin, for that report. In more news, the Kyrie FM Sunday Praises, hosted by Mr. Heston Charles, will be taking its chair to the state prison this Wednesday. Listeners of the programs around the island will have a treat as they have had in the past. Mr. Heston Charles, host of the show, says Dominicans look forward to this event every Christmas as it brings some hope and cheer to the inmates at the state prison.
So over the last 4 years, we felt it was necessary to take this program out during Christmas time through the efforts of collaborating with some of our groups out there who are involved in singing and also involved in playing music, taking them out to really bring some sort of Christmas joy and Christmas cheers to some of the institutions out there in Dominica.
Last Sunday, December 9th, they took the program to the Grotto home, and Mr. Charles hopes that TV stations like Sat TV recognize the importance of ministry and broadcasting something that is, in his mind, so very important. The prison visits are always the ones that are widely listened to, and he's happy to be doing this again this year.
That one really does make headlines in Dominica when people know that we're going to the prison. A lot of people are tuned to both Kyrie and Sat. And so come Sunday morning, the 16th of December, we're going to be at the prison. So we're asking all viewers of Sat to tune to your local programming channel and view this very important initiative.
The main goal of the program is to inspire the inmates and provide them with some hope that when they get out of prison, they will be changed and can make a meaningful contribution to society.
Sure that we instill this in their minds, and so far it has proven to be very fruitful, because some of them when they get out, they would come to see me at my office in Kyrie and tell me, Mr. Charles, thank you for the inspirational words that you have told me, when you were at the prison. And so hence we really want to encourage the Dominicans that when these inmates get out of the prison, try to move away from this stigmatization that we have there. We just put a stigma on somebody and it's like once a volley, always a volley, once a rapist, always a rapist. We need to move away from that. We need to learn to forgive people.
On Saturday, 22nd of December, they will take the program to the Roseville Market and on Sunday, the 23rd, at the Princess Margaret Hospital. They also want to take the program to the block on Sunday, December 30th. The venue is not yet determined. The program is scheduled for 6 a.m. on Sunday, December 16th at the State Prison. Adaptation to climate change is a critical concern of small island developing states, and small island countries are the more vulnerable to climate change impact, and thus there is increasing recognition to support the building capacity of SIDS for adaptation. With that, the Small Grants Program, SGP, is taking the lead in efforts at building adaptation capacity at the community level. The SGP officially launched a capacity building seminar for SIDS CBA program on Thursday, December 13th. The seminar is an opportunity for community-based organizations and non-governmental organizations and other groups within vulnerable communities to learn more about climate change adaptation and build capacity in conducting vulnerable risk assessment and developing proposals to assess grants. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the seminar, Mr. Otis Jocelyn of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center says the building of the resilience of the impact of climate change is the responsibility that lies on all who it will affect.
This implies that we must find a space for everyone to get involved in the discussions on climate change and to secure a greater degree of our collective involvement. We will not, however, be able to finance all our adaptation initiative, which is why we, and in this case, the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, have structured the regional framework for achieving development resilience to climate change and its implementation plan.
Mr. Jocelyn says their challenge is to find the solutions to facilitate the transfer of knowledge, enhance the ability of communities themselves to identify risks and to undertake all adaptation measures. With this, he says national and regional agencies must facilitate that transformation, and this is why such a seminar is important. He said reducing risk must anticipate the impact of extreme weather events, so our actions will be directed towards preventing and preparedness rather than reaction.
Community-based activities must be integrated into the national framework for achieving development resilience to climate change. Typically, environmental management interventions are compartmentalized, uncoordinated, and fragmented, and are still undertaken without the necessary collaboration between agencies with similar, overlapping, or related jurisdictions. This is even more apparent in small island economies where natural resources are limited and the health of one resource is integrally dependent on the integrity of others. Consequently, the severity of impacts on downstream resources resulting from activities taking place upstream is more readily felt in small islands compared to larger land masses. It stands to reason, therefore, that for the management of the use of resources to be efficient and effective, it must be executed through a framework that is based on the integration of decision-making and actions across agencies.
He says the CCCCC stands firm in the efforts to reduce the effects of climate change, and it is their mandate. Director of the Environmental Coordinating Unit and the Global Environment Facility, Focal Point, Mr. Lloyd Pascal, pointed out that in a report on the World Environment Day 2010, Dominica was one of the 4 most vulnerable countries in the world in relation to climate change. Other countries are Guatemala, Myanmar, and Vanuatu. Mr. Pascal says natural disasters are not something that can be eradicated. However, what we can do is to plan so the effects are minimized.
The public library in Roseville is now richer as it received a check on Thursday, December 13th of the amount of US $10,000. This donation, however, is for the purchasing of books and other literature material related to the United States history for what is called the American Corner at the library, which is funded by the U.S. Embassy. Political, Economic and Commercial Officer in the Office of the U.S. Embassy, Mr. Michael Carver says this donation is the start of a long relationship.
The American Corner was officially launched in January of 2011. And since 2011, we have invested over $43,000 in total for the purchase of books and DVDs.
Mr. Carver says the American Corner has paid host to various events for Dominicans both young and old. He said this included a movie marathon of classic American movies, craft workshops, exhibitions on Black History Month, literature sessions with secondary school students, and book reading sessions for primary school students. Mr. Carver thanked the staff of the library for their work. He says the success of this corner would not be possible without the staff. Mrs. Davina Jones, the chief librarian at the Roseau Public Library, who accepted the check, says she is pleased they finally received the check for the American Corner, which will go a long way.
We are able now to go out and buy new books, all the bestsellers, or anything that we want. With a DVD, games, we are able to buy things that our users can really use for their upliftment, and that keeps the library outreach program going. So it's a good thing for us and a good thing for our users.
Mrs. Jones went on to explain what the American Corner is.
The American Corner is basically a whole set of literature, information about the U.S. or books written by U.S. authors. What they really try to promote is their history and their literature. So we choose what we want to get into the corner, but it has to be US based, something from the US, or we choose the information, yes, but we have a limit as to what we can buy.
She said this American Corner is in many other libraries within the Caribbean countries, where it is used to promote American authors and history among other material. Mrs. Jones says, however, it does not overshadow our local and Caribbean history.
Everything Dominican, we try to have it here available to users. Everything written by a Dominican, written about Dominican, we try to get it in here and offer it to our readers. So we are not promoting only American literature, American history, we are promoting a lot of Dominican in a big way. That's the first and foremost thing we do.
The librarian stated there is a lot of material at the library for the public to use, and she is urging them to make advantage of the resources available to them. She went on to urge all students to visit the library to get books so they can read more to be more knowledgeable, since knowledge is power. Today, Thursday, December 13th, marked the 17th year since the Elias Nassif Foundation has been making annual Christmas awards and donations to various institutions and organizations. These institutions and organizations care for young, elderly and sick, and also some health and education institutions. Again, as in the past, the 3 oldest centenarians on the island will be recognized and appreciated for their contribution and their longevity.
In addition, the Elias Nassif Small Business Award in memory of our late father's entrepreneurship will continue to be a major contribution of the annual awards. Also, as a tribute to our late father, Dr. Irvin Andre published an interesting biography on his life, Triumph Over Tragedy, a copy of which will be presented to each recipient.
Guest speaker at the event and winner of the Small Business Award, Mr. Petit Louis Arce, says when he came to Dominica, he did not have any family here.
I don't have any family here. I don't have any friend. I don't know anybody in Dominica. And today, look where I am today. I'm feeling great. I'm not here only like a business person. That is something very interesting for the young business in Dominica, and for the young people also. When I start my business, life was very difficult. Up to now.
Mr. Arcis added that we are supposed to come together to find ways to improve and develop Dominica.
If everybody live in this country, what we can do? We need people to come here to do investment. I always believe in Dominica we have good security. That means so the country have more problem in Dominica. So I believe we're supposed to work together. And today, I always say, God have to bless Mr. Nassif. Yes, King's Garments have a small foundation. If I have money, I would like to try my best to help Dominican people and to help my country people.
Recipients for Donation 2012 are daycare centers, care for the elderly, health and education, spiritual institutions, centenarians, and special contribution to retired employees. This year, the foundation will make awards and donations totaling $61,500.
And in court today, Mr. Gerald Cyril of Batica appeared before the court on 4 different charges. The incidents occurred between December 10th and 12, 2012 in Atkinson and Salibia. Mr. Cyril was charged with threatening language, battery, throwing missiles, and resisting arrest. He pleaded guilty to all charges. The facts in the case are that on December 10, 2012, the complainants Bibla Thomas and Jared Cyril were returning from work in Layu. They stopped at a bar in Salibia when the complainant noticed Cyril approaching him. He began using profane language including, "I have to shoot you, I'm going to kill you, you're not from reserve, I will get rid of you one way or the other." They began to fight and Mr. Cyril received several blows to his body and also rolling to the ground. They were both arrested and charged. Thomas pleaded not guilty to battery and wounding of Cyril, and the matter is adjourned until the 8th of May 2013 at Marigot. Attorney Joshua Francis, who represents Jared Cyril, said that Cyril and Thomas were best of friends and they were having disputes over race. He said Cyril was sorry for letting the matter get so out of hand that it ended up in the courtroom. Magistrate Candy George charged Cyril $1,000 on the count of threats to be paid by the 31st of January 2013 or spend 3 months in prison. On the count of battery, he is to pay $500 by the 20th of February 2013 or 2 months in prison. On the charge of resisting arrest, $500 to be paid by March the 31st, 2013. No separate penalty was given for throwing missiles. In more court news, Najaki Thomas of Trafalgar was arrested for possession of cocaine and possession with intent to supply the said cocaine. He denied all charges. On the 9th of December, he was found with 7,000 grams of alleged cocaine in a vehicle in Massac. The prosecution is objecting to bail and says that investigations are still ongoing and other persons are being sought in connection to the matter. Thomas was denied bail and remanded in custody. His matter is adjourned to the 11th of July 2013 and disclosure ordered by the 31st of May 2013. And in more court news, 5 people were charged with possession of cannabis and cultivation of the said cannabis trees. Chad Joseph, Rosalind Joseph, John Sylvester, Keyshawn Gordon, and Franklin Jackson appeared before Magistrate Candy George. Chad Joseph pled guilty to both charges and all the others pled not guilty. The charges were dropped against them. On the 11th of December 2012, a search warrant was issued for the home of Rosalind Joseph on 21 Great Marlborough Street, where the police found 18 cannabis plants outside the home and about 2 grams of cannabis in the house. The trees were analyzed and tested positive for cannabis. Mr. Joseph said he was very sorry for embarrassing his mother and family and he regrets getting involved with the drug. His lawyer, Jeffrey Leta, suggested that the magistrate only order him to do community service. But Magistrate George said that we do not have that in place in Dominica anymore, so it is not an option. He was ordered to pay $2,000 by March the 31st, 2013 or spend 4 months in prison. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.